For another of the Oceiana Kart Championship races. This is in fact the Formula A. With me in commentary, Edward Krause and Greg Rust. Rusty, let's take a look at the grid.
The pole sitter is Roberto Toninelli from Italy, driving a Haas Kart. And on the outside of him, the very talented Australian, Ben Horstman, driving for Jolly Kart. From row 2, the PCR of Fabio Simonini from Italy. And also from Italy, on the outside of him, it's Riccardo Vanderen driving for Top Kart. From row 3, it's Robert Dahlgren driving a CRG. And rounding out the top 6, another Australian, Andrew Walmsley.
Well, the pressure is certainly on the Australians. I think everyone's very interested to find out what happened to young James Courtney. We'll explain that to you a little later on. In the starters' hands, a rolling start as they come under the bridge. We've got some hands being waved here. Some of the drivers not too happy about the start, but we are racing. Horstman already up into second place. Now keep your eye out for Kart 77 from the rear of the field. That will be James Courtney, and he will be on a charge.
Well, as always in these first laps, things are fairly bunched up. You can see a couple of them jostling for position. One driver who's not very happy at the moment is driver of kart number 82, that's Riccardo Vanderen. He's coming off good position 4 and got relegated well back in the jostling for position just as the green flag came on.
Geez, have a look at James Courtney, kart 77. Just caught him there heading up onto the bridge. What a run from him. Now here's Horstman, kart 67, and he is on a charge. One of the things that all of these drivers are super aware of so early in the race is not to damage the machinery. It's surprising when you see so much jostling going on right at the start of a race. They're 28 laps from home, and they would have to nurse a kart that's not really nurseable to the end because it will destroy tyres. Right at the moment though, Ben Horstman, who has been fast throughout all of his qualifiers into the pre-final, a great run from him, and I had a good look at the tyres prior to the start of this race. They look pretty good. I think he's probably done the right thing in the pre-qualifier and really not pulled the pin, but his lap times have been extraordinarily consistent over the last 4 days. You can see him here looking for a bit of a slipstream up onto the bridge. A good 140 kilometres an hour up and over the bridge, and in fact there's a little bit of contact there. The karts are relatively tough when it comes to contact. Here he is up the inside. So Horstman really starting to put in some fast times on this, the big sweeper. A constant right-hand corner all the way around, down the hill now, and this is a big run onto the straight. They really do need to keep up some apex speed for this last left-hander onto the straight. Edward Krause, we've seen throughout the last 4 days at least of qualifying, pre-qualifying, that this class, because of the slightly less horsepower karts, they do seem to take a hell of a lot of risks out there.
They certainly do, Greg. And what we're seeing now is Ben Horstman pulling away. He has been absolutely on fire all week. He only just lost the pre-final to Robert Toninelli, but he's set fastest time trial and won every single race up until the pre-qualifier.
He certainly seems to be working hard right at the moment. 28 laps here at Oran Park. This is a fantastic circuit. Greg Rust, one of the surprising things is if you're actually walking across the track, how tacky it is with all of the rubber and the heat here at Oran Park. Has really allowed the track to work just so well. The G-forces out there on the drivers absolutely astronomical.
They certainly are, and they work very, very hard indeed. They come down across the strike and get now to reel off yet another lap. Your leader is Ben Horstman from Australia, doing a terrific job out in front at the moment. His kart is a Vega shod kart, and the Vega tyres certainly seem to be suited, from his perspective at least anyway, to this circuit at the moment. In second place, Vanderen there aboard kart 82, as you saw, also a Vega shod kart. And in third place, and absolutely being hounded at the moment, is Simonini. Simonini's kart, a Dunlop shod machine, and sitting back in behind him is Toninelli. Toninelli also on Dunlops. Greg, you made a very good point a moment ago about some of the excess rubber that is out there on the circuit at the moment. Oh, nice move by Toninelli up the inside in his Haas kart. You made a good point a few moments ago about some of the excess rubber on the circuit. And in Europe, would you believe, so much excess rubber is put down by these karts onto the circuit that sometimes they have to use a mattock to clear it off the circuit.
It's easy to believe. I mean, aside from the amount of tyres that actually get consumed in one of these international type meetings, just look at the outside of the circuit. As you have a look at some of the vision there, you can see all the marbles off to the side. Well, they weren't there 3 days ago, and that's what's gone off to the outside of the circuit, let alone what's actually laid down on it. Here's Ben Horstman still in control here. Have a look at the front of his kart. He's got some damage. Now, whether that's affecting the kart, well, we'll only find out as the laps run down. But look at the front of it. It is definitely bent up on the left-hand side, right at the front on the pod there. I'll just have to sit back and see how it all works out, but it's definitely bent. There's no doubt about that. And the drivers now, I suppose, trying to get into a bit of a rhythm, Edward, for these guys now. It's sort of the workman type part of the race. They really just have to settle in and get on with the job and try to protect the kart.
That's right, Greg. The jostling that we saw in the opening laps, that's subsided, and now the leaders, they want to get away from the rest of the field so that they can set their own pace. That way they can look after their tyres, their engines, and their chassis. But as we see Vanderen now having a go at the inside of Horstman, couldn't pull it off that time. As I was saying, they just want to look after their equipment so that in the final few laps they can put on a charge and, if necessary, fight to the very end for that championship win.
Well, it certainly looks as if that's going to be the case. We've got a number of lap times that have been so close throughout the whole 4 days. You would fully expect that most of the competitors have really settled down and they know what kind of a setup they want. Again, Horstman's really having to battle for this one. This class is one of the fastest classes anywhere. If you look at the lap times from here at Oran Park at least, these guys are no more than a quarter of a second from the very fastest karts that are out here. So the only real differences between this and virtually the Formula 1 class of sprint karts is probably the carburetors. They have a few other components that they can't quite change, but all said and done, these things are weapon fast, and the real interest, of course, is the fact that we've got 2 Australians. Now, young James Courtney found himself starting from rear of field. That's him there, kart 77, just shot through. Now, James Courtney is, well, effectively the reigning Junior World Karting Champion. It's a 5 Nations Cup title, but in essence, he is the World Junior Karting Champion. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you know what that means and just what he should be able to do with his racing career. And he had a real problem in his pre-qualifying. Now, he's moved up to this class, so he's running with the big guys now, but he had a real problem with the kart and decided very early on that he would abort running in that particular pre-final. That was earlier this morning, and save the tyres. Now, that's a pretty smart move from someone so young, I think. Whoa, have a look at this. Greg Rust, gee, I tell you what, you don't want to touch wheels in open wheel racing, whether it's a kart or a Formula 1. That was absolutely amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
Let's have a look at the replay for you. This is a nice outside move by Vanderen, but it didn't come off. They had a touch of wheels, and that unfortunately has relegated kart 65, would you believe it, Tonelli off to the outside of the circuit. Oh, another coming together. These are the 2 Australians. I can't believe it. Jeremy Loma, and would you believe it, James Courtney. I cannot believe that. They came out of track the tyre corner and just had a touch of wheels, and now I can't believe it. He's been relegated back 6 places.
Well, here it is on the replay, and it looks to me as if James is fairly innocent there. Now, he's going to have to overcome that. He was going so well. In fact, I think he was as high as about 6th in the race at that time. And, you know, he was moving right through the field. So, I mean, he was looking really strong. That's going to set him back. But I don't think I've ever seen a 360 pirouette mid-air, come back down and simply get on with the job. That, well, only happens in karting. You never see that in any other form of the sport.
So it's been an incredible effort from the Sydney Kart Racing Club.
Certainly has, and credit to them. They've done a great job. Interestingly is Parc Fermé and the scrutineering setup they have with karts. This is serious. In fact, to be honest, it's similar to touring cars, and it's certainly similar to the way Formula 1 cars are treated at the end of a race. The drivers come in and are virtually locked away. The kart is weighed. Fuel samples aren't really a problem because everyone's being supplied with fuel, but the karts are weighed, and the drivers, whoa, Ben Horstman, they're using all of the track and then some. It's a serious situation for these guys. They virtually don't want to talk to anyone until, one, they've had the kart weighed and they're clear for weight, and secondly, they've run and talked to the tyre technicians. Then it's our turn to have a bit of a chat with them, Russ. Now, Edward, we've had some dramas, not necessarily with this class, but with some scrutineering of chassis throughout the week. In fact, some competitors were facing a trip back home.
That's right, Greg. In the Intercontinental A class, they have to run homologated chassis. Therefore, the idea behind that is that you can go and buy your competitor's chassis, or the same sort of chassis as anyone else in that field. Now, what was found was that some of those chassis had been modified since they had been past homologation and therefore were deemed ineligible. A compromise was reached, as we just see Simonini pass Van Dorn, and only to have the 3rd position taken back from him very quickly, into the skyline section, and Simonini actually holds that 3rd position.
That's a classic carve up in karting, I'd say, Rusty. That was absolutely brilliant racing from those two.
Simonini certainly likes that part of the circuit. He might lose it as they come off the back of the bridge area, but he sneaks up past them again just as they come up to the top of the skyline area. A tremendous move. Here's a good 3-way battle for this particular one now. Sitting back there in 3rd place, Matteo Boscolo. So Boscolo now coming in into the battle for this one.
You know, the interesting thing with kart racing, I suppose, is the tactics. You know, these guys have to think about the entire race right from the drop. Now, not only do they have to contend with the other competitors, but they really do have to nurse the machinery around, even though it's a sprint race, if you call 28 laps 30 kilometres in a kart a sprint race, and turning it around. So they don't even have that option. They just have to think about what they're doing out there. And Horstman, you know, he's in control, but only just, isn't he? He goes as fast as he has to stay in front. I suppose that's all he's got to do, but he's looking behind just to suss the scene, and I think sometimes he's a little bit worried about just how close this battle is for the lead.
Well, as we count down towards a close, I think what's certainly going to come to the fore is just if any damage has been sustained to either of these vehicles. You made mention of before, and you can see quite a good shot of it as Horstman came down across the strike. But there's a little bit of damage to the front of his kart there, the nice air dam. Oh, we've lost Vander, and I can't believe that. I don't know what's happened there. He's moving the car up the circuit, possibly a C for him at this later part of the race. A very deeply disappointed man. Now that, I believe, would have moved Van Dorn up into second place.
Yeah, the teams. This is what amazes me with this form and this level of racing with the Oceiana Kart Championship here at Oran Park. The teams that are turning up with 6 and 8 chassis, full pit crews, full teams, and it is big, just like the action out here at the moment, Greg.
Tell you what, it certainly is. This is a good dice going on for second place. Van Dorn, the Australian, has just snuck back up the inside. Sitting back in behind him in third place, the Italian, Matteo Boscolo. Here he is all over the back of him. He certainly likes this part of the circuit. The question is, can he do anything about it? These two are dicing tremendously as this one goes right down to the wire.
Not many laps left to run in this one, and it is really coming down to the wire for these two guys as they battle for position. What about Horstman, though? What a job from him. And Edward Krause, right at the moment, Horstman would be hearing all weird and wonderful noises coming from the engine and the chassis and the brakes. He'd really just be thinking to himself, stay cool, calm and collected.
Well, this is an identical situation to what Ben faced last year. He won the Formula A class at this event at Raleigh last year, so he knows how to win. There's no doubt about that. This will be his third international championship victory, all of which have been won very, very convincingly. So it's been a great result from him so far.
Certainly has. Let's hope he can take it right down to the wire. Here's the battle going on for second place. Oh, a bit of a gesture there to the outside. Boscolo allowed up the inside of Van Dorn from Australia. So Van Dorn now back into third place. Here is your leader. Done a terrific job really from the very start of the race. Held off some good charges. All he's got to do is drive nice and consistently to the final. There's the last lap board now on display. So Horstman makes his way through the horseshoe area, a tight sort of left combination. Here's the battle for second place. Boscolo manages to hold it out at this point in time. So around about 3/4 of a lap to go. Can the Italian manage to keep the Australian from the second place and make it an Australian 1-2? We'll soon see. So your leader makes his way up across the bridge. The battle for second still rages on. Van Dorn, I tell you what, he's going to be looking for a move on him as they come across the top of the bridge. Here he is, he snaps out of the slipstream. Across the top of the bridge they come, side by side. The Australian Van Dorn trying to sneak up the inside of Boscolo, doesn't. Boscolo loses ground there under brakes. The cart snapped sideways, locked up the rear brakes. That's going to certainly hurt him now that the race really hasn't got too much ground left to cover. Here's your leader though, making his way through the final corner for the final time. Benjamin Horstman driving the Vega shod Jolly Kart machine, keeping it cool, comes across the line to grab the checkered flag. The battle for second continues at the moment though. The Australian Van Dorn will come across the line to grab second, and in third place, driving the CRG Bridgestone shod machine, it's Boscolo from Italy.
Congratulations, Ben. Fantastic race, fantastic win. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm just great. I'm really happy for the team. They've worked really hard all week. The tyre manufacturers, the engine builder, the chassis people, all of them just worked really hard. I'm just happy for them also.
Yeah, we're talking of tyres after qualifying second in the qualifying round. You must have been a bit worried about keeping them through to the end of the race.
Yeah, we were really concerned with the hot conditions. We were hoping for a cooler weekend with the compound tyre that we chose, but it all came out in the end, so that's it.
Well done.
Thank you.